Good morning. My name is Sheila Griffin, and I have the honor of serving as chairman of the IMSA Board of Trustees. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I wish to welcome all of you to commencement of our 26th graduating class, which I have been a part of since 1985 when we founded the institution. As a founding member of the board, I take great pride in honoring each class and in celebrating this special day with you. This is a long-awaited milestone for a remarkable group of young adults and for all who have invested in their academic, personal, and social well-being. Family members and friends, faculty and staff, and trustees and funders are all gathered here today to show you, our soon-to-be graduates, of how very proud we are of all of you. This has been a remarkable year, demonstrated by exceptional achievements by you, our graduates. In your program today is a partial list of the institutional and student achievements for the class of 2013-2014, or the academic year 2013-2014. The list is by no means complete. It is only a sampling, but you can see that we, as IMSA, have much to celebrate as a community while honoring each and every graduate. The board recognizes the commitment of the IMSA faculty and staff, students and parents, alumni and educational partners, and the state of Illinois and private funders for believing in IMSA's mission and supporting our work. To the class of 2014, and to all of those here today, pause and take a brief moment to soak it all in and be proud of what we have accomplished together. I now have the honor of introducing our commencement speaker, Dr. Kathryn D. Sullivan, Undersecretary of Commerce for Oceans and Atmosphere and NOAA Administrator. Dr. Sullivan is recognized as a distinguished scientist, renowned astronaut, and intrepid explorer. She was confirmed by the United States Senate as the Undersecretary of Commerce for Oceans and Atmosphere and NOAA Administrator on March 16, 2014. Prior to her appointment, Dr. Sullivan held the position of NOAA's Chief Scientist and the Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Environmental Observation and Prediction. As Assistant Secretary, Dr. Sullivan played a central role in the administration and NOAA priority work in the areas of weather and water services, climate science and services, integrated mapping services, and Earth observing capabilities. She also provided agency-wide direction with regard to satellites, space, weather, water, and ocean observations, and forecasts to best serve American communities and businesses. Dr. Sullivan is also the United States co-chair for the Group on Earth Observations, an intergovernmental body that is building a global Earth observation system that provides environmental intelligence relevant to societal needs. Dr. Sullivan's impressive expertise spans the frontiers of space and sea. An accomplished oceanographer, she was appointed NOAA's Chief Scientist in 1993, where she oversaw a research and technology portfolio that included fisheries, biology, climate change, satellite instrumentation, and marine biodiversity. She was the inaugural director of the Battelle Center for Mathematics and Science Education Policy in the John Glenn School of Public Affairs at Ohio State University. Prior to joining Ohio State, she served as a decade as president and CEO of the Center of Science and Industry in Columbus, Ohio, one of the nation's leading science museums. Dr. Sullivan was one of the first 6 women selected to join NASA Astronaut Corps in 1978 and holds the distinction of being the first American woman to walk in space. She flew on 3 shuttle missions during her 15-year tenure, including the mission that deployed the Hubble Space Telescope. Dr. Sullivan has also served on the National Science Board and as an oceanographer in the U.S. Navy Reserve. She holds a bachelor's degree in earth science from the University of California at Santa Cruz and a doctorate in geology from Dalhousie University in Canada. It is with great pleasure and profound respect that I introduce Dr. Kathryn Sullivan.
Thank you, Sheila. President Veal, esteemed trustees and faculty, friends and families, graduates of the class of 2014, I am honored to join you on this very special day. You know, I have to say, looking at you guys sitting here on the stage makes me think back to days when I sat on a launch pad for hours, wearing similarly uncomfortable getup, while some other bunch of people droned on through the elaborate ritual that was the last thing standing between me and outer space. In other words, guys, you have my sympathies and a promise to keep this relatively short. I can't wait for the reception back on campus. I've always wanted to see Hogwarts for myself. And I understand the resemblance is more than skin deep, that IMSA is indeed, and we've heard it from Sunny and Gina, a little bit of a scary place and a magical place. Certainly some place that requires hard work, and from what I could see online in the last lectures, a place that has several of its very own McGonagalls and Dumbledores. Unlike Harry Potter's mythical alma mater, however, when the sparks fly at IMSA, when the lights come up and what seems magical is happening around you, it's not because of magic at all. It's because of you. It's because of your talent, your intellect, your creativity, and your spirit. No special effects, wands, or incantations can do what you can do. Add to humankind's body of knowledge and improve the quality of life for all. I mean, you've already helped advance sustainable energy in Illinois, designed a major exhibition for the Brookfield Zoo, pitched a slew of creative new business ideas, and reached for the stars, literally, in NASA's Exploration Design Challenge, racking up a top 5 finish, no less. But IMSA reminds me of my astronaut days in some other ways, too. Like me, you once walked into a special place knowing you were taking on a really huge challenge, a challenge that everyone around you would be super smart. You remember how exhilarating and pretty daunting that day was, don't you? And along the way, as Sunny and Gina have acknowledged, your brilliant classmates and fiendishly challenging assignments now and then made you doubt your own capabilities. But they also made you dig deeper and learn how to bring out your best. And I can tell you I had just those same feelings more than a few times among my astronaut cohort. Each one of us always was both teacher and learner to each other, both friend and competitor to each other every day. IMSA is the place you've called home these past 3 years, where you met your first roommate, faced your first clash of the halls, honed your skills as problem solvers and obstacle course navigators, and now and then as rappers, dancers, vocalists, and even beatboxers. And trust me, those are all really useful life skills. Your performances as Pharrell or Menzel, whether serious or goofy, flexed creative muscles and added to the confidence you'll need to succeed at unexpected and uncomfortable challenges. And I promise you'll have plenty of those in the years to come. And while you might think you've performed at the last talent show of your life, I'm here to tell you that in many respects, life is a continual talent show. So I advise you to sing out loud, do a bit of improv, and dance a little bit every single day. Your faculty invited me to speak to you today because I'm a successful person. Okay, it's really because I'm an astronaut and Dr. Marshall wanted me to be here forever. An astronaut is really cool. We get that, right? Back to the success thing. My point is your faculty thinks I know why I've been successful. And your parents are hoping I'll tell you how. And they're praying that you'll remember a little bit of something I say so that the Success Fairy's magic wand will touch you someday too. There is, of course, no simple formula, but sometimes stories can help light the way. Long before you were born, any of you, I'm afraid to say, I was a student at William Howard Taft High School in Woodland Hills, California. Back then, I was the quiet, smart, athletic girl who hung around the edge of the crowd. I took 4 years of French in high school and became quite fluent. And at that point, a guidance counselor and my French teacher played a really critical role in my life. Because of them, I ended up at the University of California at Santa Cruz, planning to major in languages and linguistics. Now, UCSC is located on gorgeous hills overlooking Monterey Bay. It's a spectacular campus. And one of California's very first surfing locales, Steamers Lane, is right down at the bottom of the hill, which is why the campus is also known as Uncle Charlie's Surf Club. It's long been widely rumored that classes at Santa Cruz are scheduled around wave breaks and beach parties, to which I today will offer only the standard Washington response of no comment. But UC Santa Cruz was a truly life-altering place for me. It was a place where we were required to dive deeply into subjects and reach beyond the bounds of our intended majors from day one. A place that believed deeply it was more important for us to explore our full potential than to manufacture a grade point average. A place that encouraged daring academic exploration. Any of that sound familiar to you guys? I think I heard bits of it in Sunny and Gina's remarks. That ethos, along with great professors and extraordinary learning experiences, quickly made this foreign language major realize she was on the entirely wrong track. I realized that what I am at heart, what I wanted to always be, was an explorer. That is what best describes me. And oceanography was my best ticket to that life. There was just this one small problem. My high school curriculum had not prepared me for this at all. And freshman year was over by the time it all became clear to me. A huge chasm lay between me and this exciting new destination. I literally felt like I'd have to leap over the Grand Canyon to get there. Could I really do that? Could I be good at oceanography? I'm really good at languages. And pretty importantly, could I finish in the 3 remaining years? Because a 5th year was not in the cards financially. I jumped into the chasm. And it was hard. It was really hard. I had always worked hard in school, but now I had to double down on effort. I had to ask for help. That was a first in my academic life. I had to choose consistently to invest more of my time in learning than in slacking. And yes, I found myself leaving behind some friends and having to make the effort to build new ones. But it was also exhilarating. The rush of learning radically new things, the fun of solving the challenging puzzles posed by rocks, minerals, and ocean critters, the excitement of planning complex field expeditions, the absolute delight of being out in nature and coming to know more of her ways. This adventure fired every single circuit within me. I learned a ton about the Earth, but a whole lot more about myself. I learned about capacities and talents I never knew I had. I learned how deep my reservoir of strength really was and how to tap that strength. In short, I began to learn what it takes to turn the stardust of a dream into a concrete reality in my life. I spent the next 3 years in the zone called just scared enough. That mix of high challenge, rich stimulation, and some underlying safety that is the sweet spot of real learning. You graduates are about to set off into the wider world. You'll find a lot of familiar fields you know, disciplines you have yet to sample, and I promise you jobs you never imagined. When I picked up my diploma at Santa Cruz, I certainly never imagined, not a bit, that I would someday map new sections of the ocean floor for the very first time, fly 3 space shuttle missions, and see the Earth from space with my own eyes. Never dreamt that I would become the first American woman to walk in space, the Undersecretary of Commerce for Oceans and Atmosphere, and one of the 100 most influential people in the world, or the world's weatherwoman, as Time magazine called me recently. These all came about not because I had a grand plan, but because I continued to explore both the world around me and my capabilities. To seek opportunities that offered the greatest learning potential, the most compelling purpose, and the finest people to work with. Because I kept jumping back into chasms of just scared enough, and even eventually came to really like living in that zone, and also because Sunny was right, because good fortune smiled on me and blessed me with a good background and good health. So graduates, even if you think you know for certain what it is you want to study, as I did, and if you're positive of the career you wish to pursue, don't let the grand plan become a barrier. Dare to explore. Try new things. And don't be afraid of mistakes. They're proof you're testing, learning, growing. You're out there doing something. That's why the mantra of designers at IDEO, one of the leading design firms on the planet, is fail early, fail often. It's a good motto. And don't be afraid of change, because, get over it, change is like gravity. It's everywhere and forever. Resistance is futile. Your math and science-based curriculum is going to serve you well across a number of areas of study and in every walk of life. It gives you the ability to comprehend, analyze, and model complex phenomena, to separate strong evidence and sound logic from innuendo, opinion, and anecdote, and to connect your results to the real world, to society, in meaningful and productive ways. It lets all of you greet the unknown and the unexpected with a, well, let's figure this out, instead of, OMG, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. IMSA is devoted to igniting and nurturing creative, ethical, scientific minds that advance the human condition. Boy, that really resonates with me. It captures the best and most valuable things I gained from being an astronaut. The lessons gained by being part of something so much larger than yourself and of seeing the Earth from orbit. What hits you overwhelmingly when you look out the spacecraft window is that every single one of us on Earth is inextricably linked to every other one as humankind. There really is no us and them. We are one. And our very existence is linked to the workings of our home planet, this little blue marble called Earth. Now, every astronaut comes home motivated to share this inspiration. But I came home with a different drive. To make this perspective, this greater understanding of Earth and our relationship to our dynamic systems that I gained in orbit, to make this perspective matter in the everyday lives of people and in the affairs of nations. So I'm still jumping into chasms. In 2011, President Obama asked me to return to government to lead NOAA, first as Deputy Administrator and now as Undersecretary. Making Earth science matter in the lives of everyday people is exactly what the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration does. Our mission spans from the surface of the sun to the bottom of the sea. We transform scientific data into what I call environmental intelligence, actionable information that can help all of us live wisely and well and more safely on this ever-changing planet. You all know our work. It's your daily weather forecast. But we're also the forecasts that protect people from devastating storms like Sandy and the warnings that alert you to approaching tornadoes. We provide the nautical charts and navigation data that allow cargo to move safely through our ports, something your Dr. Skinner learned to appreciate as a deckhand aboard tugs in the Mississippi and Illinois rivers. For all you gardeners out there, NOAA is the climate data behind the plant hardiness zones. We're also the solar storm forecasts that enable utilities to safeguard our electric grid and the chemical measurements behind the famed Keeling CO2 curve. All of that and more is NOAA. I chose to devote my professional life to this challenge, putting scientific understanding of the Earth to work for all of us. What best describes you as you sit here today? What do you want your life to be about? These questions will be answered by the choices you make in the years ahead. Your IMSA education has given you a solid base of knowledge. More importantly, much more importantly, it has taught you how to deal with and even thrive in the just scared enough zone. And you'll have many opportunities thanks to this strong foundation. In the course of time, you'll probably have a number of jobs and likely even change careers several times. And some of these will be occasioned by your own planning and initiative, but others will descend upon you due to forces beyond your control. Since the pace of change only continues to accelerate, one thing I can guarantee you is that you'll see a whole lot more change in your lifetime than I have seen in all of mine, so I do suggest you buckle up. Some say the key to success is not what you know, it's who you know. I think you've figured out that neither of those is true. It's not what you know or who you know. It is what you do with what you're given and how you do it. It is about intelligence and integrity, creativity and perseverance. These qualities shining through your works reveal your character. And they're reflected in the way you handle yourself among both the greatest and the least celebrated of people, whether anyone is watching or not. You all know your IMSA education has prepared you well for higher education, but it has also prepared you to be leaders in your careers, your communities, your families. Not necessarily having a fancy title or a corner office, but stepping up and speaking up and contributing when it is needed. And we expect this of you. The world beyond these walls so needs your talents and energies. I urge you to apply your talent to the important issues of the day, to use your IMSA education to benefit others. Whether you help change the life of a single person in a small way or alter the course of world affairs, be a force for good. If you're keeping track, I've now advised you to sing out loud, do a bit of improv, dance every day, to dare to explore, to embrace mistakes and give up now on resisting change, to jump into the occasional chasm, to be a force of good, and to be a leader. Digital natives that you are, and this being 2014, I will close with a piece of very 21st century advice. This from author Kurt Vonnegut, who wrote Slaughterhouse-Five and The Sirens of Titan, among other things. Speaking to an audience of graduates just like you some years ago, Vonnegut said this: "Computers are no more your friends and no more increasers of your brain power than slot machines. Only well-informed, warm-hearted people can teach each other things they'll always remember. Only well-informed, warm-hearted people. People like those who have surrounded you, nurtured you, and ignited your mind here at IMSA. Thank them today. Remember them always. And pay their precious gifts forward. And know that you go forward today with my great admiration and my very best wishes as you jump into your next chasm. So, President Veal, let's finish this countdown and launch them.